Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events. Thursday, March 2nd, 9:15 in the morning. And I want to talk to you about severe weather and not so much about what's coming, but about the next 3 months. And we are now in our severe weather season. And I want to go over with you, since this is severe weather awareness, all the statistics and the reasons why you should be concerned and some information that you may not know. Plus an outlook for the severe weather this season. There's a lot going on in the long range, and I think it's going to be quite active, and I'll explain that in just a second. But first, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, this presentation. But here's the primary severe weather season. These are Arkansas tornadoes by month. You got to remember that weather history in terms of tornadoes, reliable tornado records go back to only 1950. So let's look at that period from 1950, and these are, I believe, all the way through to 2015, these numbers on this particular graphic. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. You see that we do get wintertime tornadoes. There's a little bit of a dip in February, and then look at that. March, since 1950, 197 tornadoes. April, by far the most active, 407. And then it drops to 321, still the second most active month. And then look at the sharp drop off there when you go into the summer months, and then it starts to increase again when you get into the tropical season, because you can get remnants this far north. You get tropical remnants coming in, and you don't get hurricanes here, but you get the remnants with heavy rain and severe weather. And then a little ramp up in the late fall and early winter, which is typically our secondary severe weather season. Hail reports by month. These are severe hail reports, and you can see they're in the 200 range, and now these go back to 1955, I believe. March increases rapidly, and there's that month, April, 1,571 hail reports. Let's go back to tornadoes. By time of day, we always talk about peak heating, the sun adding instability. You get nighttime tornadoes, and those are the most dangerous because people are sleeping. And again, since 1950, that number you see is low from midnight through 2 a.m., 4 a.m. You get a little jump there at 7 a.m., then back down. And this is all historically, but by time of day, look how you go into the afternoon. So the peak time historically for tornadoes, you see it ramping up at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and it starts to come down as the sun sets this time of the year. All right, so far, tornadoes, okay, this average, the 30-year running average tornadoes is 33. That's the 30-year running average. Let's take a look at what's happened each year since 2000. A peak here, you see 2003, 63, 2005, we had 69. I'll never forget 2008 and 2011, 81 and 75. But let's look at the past few years. The tornado count, 2013, pretty active at 34. 2014, 20. 2015, we had 16 tornadoes. Last year, we had 25 tornadoes. And by the way, there were no fatalities from a tornado last year in Arkansas. Hopefully we can keep that going. And so far this year, 4. And 2 of those came just on February the 28th. How are tornadoes ranked? EF 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. EF, what does that stand for? Enhanced Fujita. It used to be just the Fujita scale, named after Theodore Fujita. And it has been enhanced years and years ago, but you can see the scale for a 0, the weakest of all tornadoes, 65 to 85, still obviously enough to cause damage and fatalities. Then you get to the EF1, 86 to 109 miles per hour. EF2, 110 to 137 miles per hour. EF3, 138 to 167. EF4, 168 to 199. EF5, 200 miles per hour or greater. Arkansas is the only state in the central United States not to have an EF5 tornado since 1950. Knock on wood. We've had EF4s. The stronger end tornadoes are not only rare nationally, they are extremely rare in Arkansas. The last EF4 that we've had, Valonia Mayflower, I believe, and that was almost an EF5. Now, we had on March 1st, 1997, we had 4 or 5 EF4s in one day. Extremely rare. Most of our tornadoes are in the lower end of that range. Now, Arkansas tornadoes by rating, like I said, 0s, 1s, and 2s, by far, zeros, ones, and twos are by far the majority of our tornadoes that we get in Arkansas. And this is again since 1950. 156 since 1950 F3, and only 27. I'm not quite sure if that includes the Mayflower Bologna one, but no matter how you look at it, under 30. And since 1950, no F5 tornadoes. The last documented F5 tornado was in the late 20s, the Snead tornado in northeast Arkansas. But that was the last documented tornado. That was F5. As we go throughout the spring season, the correct method for reporting hail, I know a lot of people will say teacup, marble. Well, what size marble? There's a correct method for reporting hail, and when you do it, please always include the hail, the exact location, and the size. 1-inch quarter, golf ball 1 3/4, tennis ball 2 1/2, baseball 2 3/4, 4 inches of grapefruit, and softball 4.5 inches. Extremely rare, thank goodness. Also, we never want you to put yourself into any danger at all when you're covering severe weather, but we need your help covering it. But again, safety is always first. Always please include the picture with the hashtag ARWX on Twitter. This is the way most people take pictures nowadays, right? Don't do that weather-wise. This is the correct way. Landscape like that, all right? Please, for television purposes, your television does not look like this. Your television is like this. It helps us out. It's not impossible to get this on the air. It just looks a lot better and it's easier for us. No matter what, we want to thank you so much for helping us out. But that's always the correct way, by the way. Now, the difference between a watch and a warning, tornado warning, a lot of people still don't know this, but it's something that's always worth going over. A tornado warning, it means that one has been spotted by a trained spotter or radar sees one. That means to take cover immediately. They usually last 1 hour or less. A watch means simply that conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms, and from those severe thunderstorms, tornadoes can form. And these watches usually last several hours. Now, what about this season? Only one thing I want to show you in particular with this season, it's the Gulf of Mexico sea surface temperatures anomalies. These are anomalies. With the exception of this extremely small area in the eastern Gulf, the whole Gulf of Mexico, our primary moisture source, is extremely warm. We did not have a cold winter. We did not have those Arctic fronts penetrating all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, cooling those sea surface temperatures. They are still very warm, and when they are warm, that enhances the fuel for thunderstorms. Moisture coming off the Gulf of Mexico is readily available, and that moisture from the Gulf is the fuel that drives thunderstorms. Just like gasoline is the fuel that drives your car. Moisture, the humidity, is what fuels a thunderstorm, and our primary moisture source is the Gulf of Mexico. When it's warm, it easily enhances the atmospheric, the low-level moisture, and it comes and advances, transports itself to the north, and that again is the fuel for thunderstorms. So there you have it, a little overview of why this is the most active time of the year historically, and I am expecting an active spring because the Gulf of Mexico, and we do have several systems, one of which is coming next Monday or Tuesday, and there's disagreements with the models. The GFS is the most robust with thunderstorm development, but the timing of that is at night, which is not favorable for prolific severe weather. So let's hope it doesn't develop. If I remember correctly, the European is not very gung-ho about severe weather chances, which is great. Let's hope it stays that way, but the GFS does raise some alarm bells, and of course, I will keep you posted. Thank you so much for coming to the Arkansas Weather Blog. We are your ticket to big weather events.